Now, batting for Delhiites, the High Court has called for cars to be released on an undertaking by petitioners that they will not ply on the roads of the national capital. The Transport Minister labelled the actions as invasive and has directed the Transport Commissioner to frame a policy after consulting the government. Dr. Jaijit Bhattacharya, who is the president of the Centre for Digital Economic Policy Research. Welcome, Dr. Jaijit. You've been very vocal about your concerns on this order that the NGT had given long back in 2014-15. And today, of course, the High Court order has come in favor of the people of Delhi NCR who have been, having quite a harrowing experience when it comes to the scrappage policy. First of all, your views on what the Delhi High Court said today.
I think that view is very welcome because you can't simply snatch away property from people. In fact, under Article 19 and 31 of the Constitution, right to property was a fundamental right. And it is up to me to decide how I will use my vehicle. I may put a garden inside my vehicle for all that I matter, as long as I'm following the court order and not putting the vehicle on the road and I'm not plying the vehicle. It is not acceptable that you snatch away things from my home, which are my property. It may have been a gift from my parents or from my grandparents. It may be a family heirloom. And therefore, I have the right to be able to hold on to my property. And there is absolutely no basis for the enforcement authorities to snatch away property in this manner. It almost reminds me of what the loan sharks have been doing, where they harass a person, they chase them, and the government sneers down on them, and the court sneers down on them that they should not be chasing up the loan takers and harass them. But that's exactly what the government itself is doing in this particular case. So clearly, it's not acceptable, and I really welcome the High Court's order on this particular matter. But having said that, I think the whole policy itself needs to be revisited of not allowing vehicles above the age of 10, which are diesel, and petrol vehicles above the 15 to be applied on the Delhi roads, because I really don't see any data which supports this policy. Within this 10 years, 2 of the years where the vehicles were not able to run at all because of COVID. So essentially, after 8 years, you're saying a vehicle stops functioning. There is no such precedence anywhere else in the world. And it really needs to be looked at as to why such a policy is being adopted. If it's an issue of pollution, then there is an extensive pollution checking infrastructure which had been put into place, and the vehicle just needs to meet the pollution norms. So one is really perplexed as to why this policy exists in the first place.
I'm glad, Kushan Mitra, citizens like you are, appreciating this effort by Mirror Now, because we here, of course, will continue to ask these questions and raise the voices of citizens. But Dr. Bhattacharya, one of the primary reasons that that has been given for this order has been that it's going to reduce pollution. But have we seen that? We haven't seen that. Every year, you and I know, especially those who live in the Delhi NCR region know that we don't breathe clean air every day of our lives. Our health has deteriorated, and how much of this can really contribute, to reducing the kind of pollution that the Delhi NCR region sees?
Exactly what Mr. Mitra just mentioned, a very powerful set of arguments that actually the pollution level will be going up. It'll be going up because you're manufacturing new cars, and then you're destroying perfectly good cars. And there is significant pollution when you destroy perfectly good cars. There is a lot of pollutants inside the car. And, as I said, you look at the practice of other nations, which are advanced economies, when they need to dispose of their vehicle, they actually renew the vehicle and sell it off to other countries, and they actually export it. And that's preserving economic value. In the calculation that we did, we see that there is a 2,300 crore per annum of economic value being destructed because of this policy. There are 3 lakh scooters that will be taken off the road, and 1 lakh four-wheelers that will be taken off the road. And if you put a conservative cost to both of these, it turns out to be a 2,300 crore of value loss. In terms of pollution, it's almost a mockery, because there has obviously been absolutely no dent on the pollution. And that's because, are these vehicles polluting? That's the first question. Has there been a fitness regime? There is a fitness regime for commercial vehicles. And as Mr. Mitra just mentioned a little while ago, we need to have a fitness regime for the vehicles. And people are putting in CNGs, and we know that the CNG vehicles are extremely less polluting, almost negligible pollution. Same with electric vehicles, where they just do not have any pollution. And also keep in mind that when you bought a car in 2012 or 2013, you assume that you're going to keep it for the rest of your life or whatever time period that you thought of. If in 2015 somebody comes and snatches away that car and tells you that in 10 years' time you cannot have that car, and 7 more years you cannot own that vehicle, that is snatching away private property. And if you look at the fact that there are a lot of people who retired and they bought their last vehicle assuming that they will use it to go to the hospital to live for the rest of their life, those vehicles have been snatched away. Now, how do you expect such pensioners to now go and buy another vehicle? Also, if you look at the visuals that you're showing, these cars that are being smashed, they look in perfectly good conditions. I have seen very expensive luxury cars being taken away and smashed just because they cross the age of 10 years. Now, these are clearly not scientific parameters. One has to ask, what is the evidence based on which such a policy has been adopted? And I can go back and say that, look, I found that a 30-year-old house is unsafe, and I've seen 2 such houses collapsing, and therefore I'll adopt a policy where I'll go and demolish every single 30-year-old house because I think that's the right thing to do, and I'll save lives because of that. No, it is as ridiculous a policy as that. If you find some vehicles which are very old parked on the side, pick up those vehicles and through a proper process. But you can't randomly correlate a car that is parked on the side which is not working by saying that all 10-year and above car or all 15-year and above car should be scrapped. There is absolutely no correlation. I mean, tomorrow I can say that there is a car that was found to be polluting.
Exactly.
It was a white-colored car, and therefore I'll take away all the white-colored car in the in the capital city. There's absolutely no correlation between the policy and the facts on the ground.